Hey everyone, welcome to this week's show. With me, as always, I have Corey, and we got Neil here joining us. Delayed production because Neil had to work late, but thanks for joining us, Neil.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Some interesting matchups here that we're going to talk about from last week. Some only a few trades. Probably we'll take a look at the standings too, just to see where everyone is. When I say that, I mean when we do the preview, we'll talk about what place they're in. But it's really tight actually, the playoffs. So let's talk about last week. In a matchup result that kind of surprised me, I tied Team Ramrod 8-1-2 now. Tied Cherry Pickin' Daddy, who's now 1-9-1. I can tell you it was real close. Because it ended on Friday. We were at his place having a couple drinks for the holidays, and we were watching the whole night. I hit a block shot, could have went my way, would have been a different story, would have been a win. On the other end, a goal would have changed things for him. So it was a good matchup. Corey, you got anything to say about it?
Yeah, I know it was close. I thought you were out of it, but you're right. Your eyes showed up and got you the tie at least.
That's it.
Wouldn't have been his first win though.
No. To that, we'll talk to Neil here. Neil, what do you think of this matchup?
Oh, I was kind of hoping for him to beat you, but as always, you have horseshoes flying out of your ass, so you managed to tie him. I mean, we can talk about inconveniences, but I mean, you were inconvenienced as well, so I mean, I guess it is what it is. So
I think everyone's inconvenienced these days, right? With all these games getting canceled.
yeah,
But yeah,
injuries and whatnot. So
it's that over the last few years, right?
yeah.
Well, I will gladly take my point. Wish it was two, but it's not a loss. Still rocking only one loss this year. The Braden bye week. 6-4-1 in fifth place after defeating Captain Crunch, who falls down to 4-7-0, and he's sitting up in 13th place now. 8-4 win. Corey, we have to say about this one.
Yeah, Domo's goalie's coming out to play, but not enough to take him for the win. Only getting one player stat as his team did not show up this week. Big win for Travis to keep him going in the run though here with such a tight race and keeps Domo on the outside looking in.
This is the highest in the standings I remember Travis being in a long, long time. So good for him.
I mean, 6-4-1 typically wouldn't get you fifth place either, though.
No, it would not.
You get,
This year is kind of weird, right? Like everything's tight, everyone's losing to each other. Like it's good. Neil, what happened here? What do you want to tell me about it?
Well, it's a good win on Travis's part. Keeps him from losing his sanity and blowing up his team, I guess. So good for him. As far as Domo goes, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he keeps recycling, trading, and whatnot. So it can only last for so long and go so far. So unfortunately, this week did not help him out too much. So.
Yeah, I agree. Not much to say here. Like, I just don't understand Domo's strategy. I'm gonna say that every show, but until I actually see a real strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Suck my Ojic. 6-4-1. We are just talking about 6-4-1 doesn't usually get you fifth, but it gets you fourth this year. The 10-2 victory over Dell Try the Beef. 2-8-1 and 15. Neil, tell me about this matchup.
I actually didn't think I was going to be in fourth, to be honest, when I was looking at it at the end of the week. I thought I was going to be in sixth. So I was kind of surprised to see I was in fourth. I mean, it's not much to really say. Daltrey doesn't really have a team. I was leading pretty much the whole week. You're going to echo my sentiments in a little bit, so I mean, again, not much to say. So,
Yeah, Corey, anything to say?
No, it's just manslaughter. That's what we expected to see last week from Neil, or the week before.
Yeah,
Took
yeah,
took
yeah,
took
yeah,
holidays a week early this year.
yeah. Listen, man, I was in the giving spirit. Kyle was really down, but he messaged me. He was like, "Man, Neil, I gotta have a win, man, And then I'm like, and then next week you're facing Daltrey, so if you can beat him, you'll make me a little bit closer to him. So I kind of owed him one. So I said, you know what, Kyle, I'll do that for you. I'm such a good buddy. I'll do that for you. So
Oh, I see. I thought that was the compensation, the 6 foot butch. I thought
well,
that's where you
we'll
owed
talk.
him.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So
I did scout out Kyle's place there on Friday. I found a nice place on his mantle for the Caucasaurus should he win it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go eventually to Daltrey's new place there and take a look and see where's the ideal spot. We gotta scout all the candidates. Domo keeps on this trend, and he might be in contention. So
With no draft picks.
no draft picks. Ugh. Anyway, good win, Neil. Daltrey should get a little better this week as McKinnon is expected to play on the weekend, but I don't think that's going to be like enough for him to turn his season around. But there's some good news for him.
Yep.
Wonton suit. What is with this guy climbing into playoff contention almost? 4-6-1 here in 12th place. He's in the thick of it now, right? Like what, 9 points?
Yep.
Defeating Dan 8-5. Dan falls to 3-7-1 in 14th place. Neil, let's start with you again. What do you gotta say about this one?
yeah, kind of a surprising win on Casey's part. I wasn't really expecting this. I'm not sure if we. I think the consensus was Dan
No,
in
we
the
went with
predictions.
Casey.
Pardon me.
We went with Casey.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. So, well, then I guess you guys were correct. But
He's on
yeah,
the rise.
yeah, was kind of shocked with that, but good win for Casey. Not sure if he's trying to make the playoffs or just trying to put up a good fight and effort. Maybe try not to make the playoffs and fall into that seed. For the
Bedard.
Bedard. So yeah, exactly. But we'll see what he does. You never know. So he
Bedard,
might surprise us.
well, we're talking about him, had a great night today. I don't know if anyone saw that. Three
Seven.
goals, 4 assists.
Yep.
No, I did not.
I mean, it was against Germany, but
He's gonna have the record soon for most points in that tournament. He's only 2 away and he's only 17. So
anyway, Corey, what do you got to say about this?
yeah, I know Dan's goalie situation's in a rough spot, and his players didn't do a whole lot for him either this week. So the mix of the two is part of the loss here. And Casey's slowly climbing up. He's winning those matchups against the teams that he needs to be winning. Like that was a big win for him climbing the standings right with Dan. I think they were both tied going into it, 3-6-1. So yeah, it's good. Good on him.
He has no goaltending, but who knows? He might be able to crawl into a playoff spot. Once you're in, like anything can happen, right? Like we saw Mark go on a run last year.
No shot at Mark.
Wow, it was an improbable run, right? Like,
Yeah. Daltrey's
so
too. Daltrey should have been in the finals. It should have been Daltrey Mark final.
should have been.
Yeah,
Disappointing.
Got to start
I
the
mean,
goalies, boys.
for all the times to not set your lineup, you pick
He
the
finds the most
semifinals.
critical time.
Yeah,
Like
exactly, man. Like, just I don't know.
new ways to
That's
impress.
how he does it though. Like in most of his pickups are like Sundays, I find too. Like he's not active all the time through
Yeah,
the week.
but last year he was on track of setting his lineup pretty much every week. We were actually commending him for doing so, and then I guess he smoked one reefer too many and just. Like,
He
I
made a
don't know, but
decision. He thought Saros was going to hurt him that day, so he's like, "No, I'm benching him."
no, man, no. You got to go with your best, man. Sorry.
He traded a lot to get him.
Again, like I said, the horseshoe up your ass, Shane.
That's That's GM's
Polish
making
that
bad
shit.
decisions.
Yeah, just polish that shit.
I
I don't
would
know
like
what it is.
to
I don't know
change.
what it is. Like the Greek mythology, when you're, I don't know, the sirens, when they sing and then the men get all lulled in the trance. I feel that's you, Shane. Like you talk and everybody's like hanging off every word that you say. It's like it's the mist, bruh. It's the mist.
I guess that's just charming.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, anyway, but thank you for the compliment that I'm a siren. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Little siren
Oh,
songs.
yeah.
Leons, the newly named Leons, 7-3-1, sit in second place after taking down Jager Bombs here, 8-5. Jager Bombs sliding 6-4-1 down to sixth place. Corey, why don't you tell me about this one?
That's another big loss to Braden here. Two teams ahead of him in the standings, putting him another 6-4-1, sixth place. So that's three of them tied there. Next team came out to play. I find it interesting. Braden's team had his goalies won wins and saves, but lost goals against average and save percentage. Whereas Nick had none, but his goalies played well. So, but it was enough. Like if Braden took the goalie stats, he could have won the week. So it's unfortunate. But his goalie situation isn't too good with Campbell out, right? So uh, that's the difference between Nick's and his keepers too. Yeah, big win for Nick. Keep on going, Leons. Keep the sail running.
So hell, you think Nick will take hold the payments until next year with any deals like
Don't pay for it.
we'll trade futures here. Is that not how Leon's does it? Neil, why don't you tell me about this matchup? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think Corey said it all. Got off to a hot start, Braden, but he's been, one win, then 2, 3 losses here, and just another win and another couple losses. So he is sliding down the standings. Campbell's really not helping him too much. When you said he was out, I thought he was injured, but it's just Skinner's
Skinner's just
pretty much got that. Um, I see a 75-25 split there on Skinner getting the majority of the starts. So it's unfortunate for him. But hopefully he can find something or make a deal to improve his goaltending situation and get back up in the standings. Not that I'm wishing it, but
I think it's karma. This is karma for him not switching his profile picture.
mm,
Gonna
yeah.
keep sliding down the standings until he updates his picture to the Caucasaurus.
Well, it's funny because you say that somebody does have the picture and he's up in the standings.
He's been winning.
So Braden, if you're watching,
That's it. Now's the time to listen to us. Oh, Pat, you ready to rumble? 6-5, sitting in seventh place after beating Clefbaum 5-5-1 in 10th place. Again, some tight standings. 8-6 matchup, really close. Neil, why don't you tell me about this one?
oh, that's a big win on Nick's part to keep himself relevant, and try to somewhat climb up the standings and maybe potentially win our side bet. But again, big win on his part. Tough loss for Kyle. I'm sure he was banking on this win. It was a pretty close matchup overall throughout the week. Like it was back and forth. But Nick finally took it at the end of the week to solidify the win.
Corey, we got that.
Yeah, big week for Nick's goalies. Taking all 5 goalie stats to sneak out a win against Kyle. Kyle's players had a much better week. It's not a good win for Nick against Kyle, who's kind of right there. You'd like to see your players do a little bit more than his, but I guess his goalies had a good week. So I guess Mers is out; he's not playing, so your goalie stats aren't gonna be too bad.
Win's a win, right? Good on Nick for stopping the bleeding here. He's been losing a lot lately. Let's see if this is a turning point or if it's just Band-Aid for a week. But Good win for him. Tough loss for Kyle. Again, close in standings, so every point matters, right? The Chris Kreider Crease Crashers here, 5-4-2 now in ninth place. They defeated the defending champion Steven on the ice here. It's now 5-5-1 in 11th place. Neil, we'll start with you this time.
Well, a good win for Sean, to your detriment, because I know you hate when he wins, but
Do
yeah, good win on his part. His goalies came out to play. He got the better of Semin on this. Outscored him a little bit, so his players did do something. And then, shots, hits, and whatnot. I guess he took those stats from him. So, yeah, good win on Sean's part.
big win, right? Standing wise,
Yeah.
all these matchups were pretty even for the most part, right? There's only a couple where their standings were pretty
What was
far, so
he? What
everyone
was
was.
he in? What was he in prior to his win? Though was he what in 11th or 12th or
I think
something
he
like
was.
that?
I think they essentially just switched like
Oh, did they? Okay.
9th for 11th.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Corey, we got that.
Yeah, it was a close one. Like he only won by one shot, two blocks. Like right there, that could easily swing the week. Just with a couple more man games, and, or a couple of players with those deeper stats, it helped. Yeah, big on Sean to get the win. Not much to say.
Yeah, I do love when both those guys lose, so it was a win-win.
Yeah, to think that had he lost, he would have been like just 1 point away, away from like above Casey. So
Yeah,
You're below.
yeah.
Corey wants to talk about this one. I know he does. Sauce Pass 6-3-2 in third place after defeating Rasmus Dahlin Fan Club 6-5 in eighth place. Just before I throw it over to you here, I just want to point out that since he got Dahlin, his team has gone down. Just saying. Corey, why don't you tell me about this?
yeah. It was. You know what? I had the lead all week. Uh, he kind of got close, but not really ever really threatening, and never his team didn't show up when he needed them to. I didn't take a single goalie stat, so I went 9-0 and one player stats, so they carried me through the week. But yeah, that was a big win with somebody close to me in the standings, right? Like I got to leapfrog him there, and now he's the eighth place with a few losses in a row. It's not good for him, but I'm happy with it. Good week.
It's tough to feel bad for your opponents when like 15 other people have to lose for you to win. So,
Yeah, exactly.
what do you think?
Well, it's a big win for Corey. A very tough loss
Derek.
for Derek. Sorry. I mean, Derek's been sliding. Started off very well and just out of nowhere, just sliding down the standings. But just a couple of stats could have went his way. Like he was what 2 goals away from taking a point away from you, Corey. 2 assists away. You crushed him in Tim's shots on goal for like 4 hits away. So could have went either way with a couple of those going his way. But good on you for securing that win. But like very very tough loss for Derek. Like I said, what was he 4 and something or 5-4-0 or whatever, and now 6-5. So yeah, pretty tough loss. But good on you, Corey.
It's a trend. We see there's a couple guys who start off really strong and have been sliding, right? I have a
Mm-hmm.
feeling that'll swing back around when we start our rotation over. They'll have those matchups where their team plays well against, and they'll pick up a few
Yeah,
more
but
wins.
you got to think those first matchups teams were different
Oh
compared
yeah.
to now. You know what I mean? Because people have made like a bunch of changes,
Mhm.
so they could wield different results. So we'll see.
Yeah,
It was a good week. Good week of results. It looks like the playoff race is just getting tighter. Um, yeah, I'm anxious to see how it all kind of plays out. Even the race for the Caucasaurus is kind of getting a little interesting now. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kyle took a point on him there. Adultery, so
Well, let's go to the standings quick here. I'm just curious myself now. Yeah, at the bottom there. Yeah, 3 points at the bottom for Cherry, 5 for Daltrey. Dan falling into that race too here at 7 points. Like,
yeah, only a couple of weeks out.
Have Daltrey and Kyle faced each other yet? They have,
yes, I
right?
believe they did. I believe they
And
did.
who? And then
Daltrey
so
won.
Daltrey won. Okay, so if you beat Daltrey this week and Kyle wins, he's still in last place due to the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
You,
true.
you
That's
know Kyle's only win. Come on.
You think so?
I think you know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You called it yourself. You told the future.
I did. I predicted the future. Oh man, if I was predicting the future, it'd be on a 649. It wouldn't be on my fantasy hockey.
it wouldn't be a losing cause on
Yeah.
That's the future he's gonna gloat about. Hey guys, I'm gonna
Yeah.
lose to Kyle. He's picking his moments.
Yeah.
Only a handful of trades to talk about this week. It's slow. It was a short week last week, holiday weekend. People just kind of checked out without hockey on for a few days, right? So, um, what happened here? Daltrey and his dad hooking up again. Another deal. They must have made so many trades this year, but that's good for Daltrey. He's taking advantage of his dad's need to keep trading.
Oh, his
Captain
withdrawals.
Crunch going out and acquiring Nicholas Delorier and a 13th rounder in exchange for a 12th rounder. Corey, why don't you tell me about this?
Yeah, just he was desperate on the Sunday looking for some or
On the
the
Friday, on the
yeah, I
the
was gonna
rare
say
Friday.
yeah, the Friday last game, last night of the week. Just he was desperate. Tillery is not a bad player actually, but he's definitely to 12th, whatever. Not much to say.
Neil, any opinion on it?
Well, I think he could have not traded for Delorier, seeing as the Islanders were playing on Friday and maybe picked up Matt Martin and kept his 12. But it is what it is, I guess. So.
I think
Did
he
he?
was out of pickups.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay.
I think so, and that's why you'll see that he's involved in a few of these trades.
Oh, okay.
He tried to stack up to try and beat Travis there.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a bad trade. I mean, Delorier is he's second in hits in the league, I guess.
He's a
So,
grinder, throws up a lot of pims, hits.
yeah, yeah. So it's not a bad trade.
Ah,
And I mean,
Daltrey.
Daltrey getting 213. So is it 213? Yeah.
He's
Just
gonna get the 13th back, I believe. No, he got a different 13th.
yeah, the trade below that is a different trade.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
down the 213 is a different one. That's the cutoff.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
But Daltrey moving to 13th again. Daltrey and his dad hooking up. This time Daltrey picking up Anton Forsberg in an 11th for Stalick in a 13th. Neil, what do you think of this one?
Not much to say about this. I mean, it's just recycling players, picks, whatnot, trying to win the week. It's a weird strategy. Works sometimes, doesn't work other times. But what are we? December 29th? February is coming up pretty quick. Yeah, February is coming up pretty quick. So just want to know what he's going to do when trade deadline's over. And yeah, if I was him, I'd try to salvage the picks and maybe pick up people that he's going to maybe keep or that he can sell. I don't know, but
I just want to understand the state of his franchise. But hey, each their own. Corey, what do you think of it?
I can understand like he's going for a start. You're gonna trade a pick, but like Forsberg's been getting a lot of ice time in Ottawa. Stalock's had one game back from injury on a shitty Chicago team. Like you're actually getting rid of a goalie who's gonna get you starts down the road. Like he's hit a little stretch there where he wasn't playing, but long term it doesn't make sense at all. Like in short term, you got to start. That's a big loss to me. It doesn't make sense. Good on Daltrey. Daltrey's willing to sit on a goalie, maybe flip him later. Who knows? Maybe keep him. Depends. You never know, right? Have him as an option. Who cares if he goes back in the draft picks? But yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
think this one.
looking at it this way though, with his upcoming schedule, he's got a couple of tough opponents coming his way. He's 4 points out of a playoff spot, so he's got a bunch of teams to leapfrog, hoping that they lose. There's what, a month and a half before the trade deadline ends. I mean,
sure.
at some point you gotta think maybe I should pick up players or keep my players, and then come the deadline, sell to acquire proper picks to draft better next year. Because like, who's he keeping this year? What does he have? You know what I
Just
mean?
keep him
I don't.
Kachuk.
Here's Kachuk. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So at some point, you got to look at your team and say, like, yeah, I'm recycling players and whatnot, but what are you going to end up
He
with at the
has
end of the year?
he has some picks that he could go shopping at the deadline. Maybe
No, and
not to
that's
make
what
a
I'm saying.
playoff run, but like
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you're acquiring players or the players you have that you keep trading, keep them because
Like
he's given up a couple good players, and
because
then keep the picks, the high picks that you've been giving away. I don't know.
it doesn't make sense.
I'm seeing it as his bad GM style is finally catching up to him. He got away with this for a couple of seasons where it just worked out. He just keeps cycling through players, and the man games will get him the wins. And this year, it's catching up to him, and you're gonna see now. He just has no foundation once that stripped from him. Right? He's not winning, and he has like a bare roster. So I don't know how he fixes this, but that's not my problem. um,
Yeah.
he's in another trade that we'll talk about right now. This time he picked up Kempe and a 12 for Sorelli and a 7th from Dan. Corey, why don't you tell me about this one?
Yeah, this is I was shocked to see that Dan got a 7th for him. That's all I'll say. I don't think it's that far off the mark. Maybe I'd say if ninth, probably fair value. Eighth, I could see you arguing multi positions. If he keeps them, like that's the thing too. What's he gonna flip them for? Like, it's a little pricey for me. I think Dan came off really well with this one. It's easily a win for him. And I like it's both of Kyle Bergeron's picks too. We're picking
What do you think,
Addy.
Ian?
So who's getting the 7th?
Dan.
Dan.
Okay, so he's getting the 7th and Kemp
Sorelli
and Sorelli
for Kempe and a 12.
and a 12. Oh, the pick's a good pick for Dan. Just bolsters his picks for next year's draft. Kemp's a good player. I mean, he was good last year. I mean, he's off to a rough start this year. But I mean, we're only 30 some games into the season, so he can very well turn it around. If he does good on Domo, hopefully he ends up holding on to him and maybe trading him off for something of value. But yeah,
I I think it's seven's an way overpayment. I don't like that for Kemp. Um, good on Dan for smelling the desperation in Domo and getting that. Like, good for him. But Domo, that's a bad move. Yeah, that's all I'll say. It's not. He's definitely not worth a 7th. At least in my opinion. In my opinion. Play my siren song here. We got Clefbaum and Braden Byweek hooking up. Clefbaum getting Dylan Cousins and a 15th in exchange for Kirby Doc and a 9th. Neil, why don't you tell me about this one?
I actually like this trade for Kyle. Cousins was actually somebody that I was interested in. I didn't know he would be able to go for a ninth, because had I known, I'd have probably made that offer myself. I mean, Buffalo's pretty hot. Unfortunately, they haven't been playing for how many days now because of the snow. But he's a good young kid. I don't think a ninth's a bad pick for him. And to give away a 15th and Doc, he's all right in Montreal, but he's nothing special. I think this is a good trade on Kyle's part. So
Uh,
What do you think?
I'm going to disagree. I really don't like this trade for Kyle. I think a ninth for Cousins is an overpayment. Doc puts up very similar numbers. They're both young. Um, position wise, you get a center right wing. When he has two keepers that are already only centers as well, I don't think a ninth is worth it. I think it's good on Travis this trade, in my opinion.
I think a ninth is a fair value for him. I don't like the 15th coming back in exchange. I think that's too big of a pick difference for two guys who are. I
So
know
he's
Cousins is a little better, but yeah, I offered him a player straight up. Like said, hey, they have put similar numbers, and he just never answered. Okay, that's fine. Like I thought it would help you out. You said you had too many just centers and send you a winger who does the same thing. And I got zero response. This is the best offer you can get for him. So that's all. Huh? I think I don't like the pick different. I like the 15th going back, but I like Cousins better than Doc.
he
Ninth, I
dropped
think.
already.
Yeah, like Doc was just a throw in. He just wanted the pick. Now the trade that I know Corey wants to talk about. And I'm sure Neil wants to talk about it too. Cherry picking daddy and Suck My Ojic here, hooking up. Once bitter rivals, now seems they're really good friends. Andre Burakovsky and a sixth round going to Cherry picking daddy for Buchnevich and a ninth. Neil, why don't you tell me what happened here?
I'll let Corey go first because I want to hear his opinion, and then I'll go after.
That's fair.
But Butch had a pretty slow start. Um, he also had a slow start last year and then finally picked up. So I thought he was going to transition well this year. He has picked it up recently. I just don't think a sixth is worth it. I feel like a six is a lot of value, and to give it up for a player who's pretty one dimensional in the sense that he doesn't really hit, doesn't get roughed up with people very much. But if he's scoring, he could be worth it. But I just don't see him keeping it going. I think a six is too much. I do like that, and only ninth is coming back though, and it's wonton soup, so it's not bad. Most you expect it to be a non-playoff team.
It's almost
Ninth,
like an eighth.
you never know. Right, he's in the mix of it too, but a little bit of an overpayment for me. And Burakovsky hasn't had a terrible season, so I don't see the reason. But I'm
He's had
ready
a
to
similar season to Buchnevich.
Okay.
ready to hear.
So my thinking was, um, yeah, get the sixth is a high pick. Unfortunately, I didn't have a seventh or an eighth. Butch is only 49 points away from what he did last year. So if I can get like half of that or a little bit more, I still see a value. Burakovsky is on the third line. He's not on the first line anymore. He's not on power play one, where Buchnevich is second line, power play one, and has been injured. And I can at least get some decent scoring out of him. And the fact that I was getting the ninth back as well, which was Wontons, a non-playoff team, that depending on how it goes, he can drop even lower. That pick just ends up getting value. So I didn't see that big of a deal for it to be three picks away. So that was my logic kind of because Burakovsky hasn't been doing anything for me for quite some time. Where Buchnevich, I feel, I can get some points out of him on a more frequent basis.
Ultimately, like that's the move you're comfortable with, then good on you. I again would not have moved the six. I still have my sixth, everyone. This is the longest I've had it. except for
Yeah,
the
but the problem
inaugural.
is nobody's giving away anything for like a six. You know what I mean? Like everybody's expecting a six and something for like a high value player and whatnot.
It's
So
inflation.
I would
yeah,
have given you better for a sixth.
you would have. What would you have given me?
I have more well-rounded players. I think that's more valuable than Buchnevich, so I probably would have moved for a sixth.
Okay, all right. Well,
Just
I
saying.
may have a six that might be coming to me or something. So
We'll see. You don't like to talk trades though, so we'll see if we
I
get.
do. Hey, listen, buddy. You don't even talk. Hey, Corey. Hey, Corey. Tage Thompson. Is he available? Yeah, man. Blah blah blah. Let me look into it. Next thing you know, he trades him to Corey for a goalie,
Like
where
a
I
month
have a stack
later.
of goalies in my stable. Oh man, I made the trade and I thought about. Oh shit, I forgot to get back to Neil. So don't even go there, buddy. Don't even go there.
So how the trades materialize fast, right? So you just got to be on
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I was on it, buddy. I was the first one on it.
So,
Trust me.
sometimes though, if there's a little hiatus in between the talk heats up elsewhere, and just
Yeah, but he made the hiatus, not me. So
You left it for a month. It's a
I
long time.
left it for a month, bruh. You're
A
supposed to
long
look at what you
time.
wanted.
We're
all
on
right,
trade.
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all
we're
good.
going to
It's all good.
stop this part.